Well, hello, Stampin' Buddies. It is definitely Late Night Lori coming to you as Lori's Little Bit of Craftin'. It is Friday, June 20th at 11:44 p.m. Wisconsin time, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. I am sorry I am so late. Although I did mention the other night that there might be some nights that I won't be able to even get online. We've got family in from out of town. One of the nieces is having a baby shower tomorrow, so the family's converging for the party and everybody's really excited. So I'm late. I'm late for this very important date, but family time was a little bit more important. So I'm going to try to do something just kind of quick and easy from the current May 2025 to April 2026 annual catalog. We're looking at page 104. And down here, I'm going to try to recreate this box. We've been having a lot of fun this week, at least I have, with Blackberry Bliss and Timid Tiger, which is one of the new in colors. So I thought I would continue that theme. Like this was one of the ones that we did earlier this week with the Sunflower 3D embossing folder. And who would have thought to do like a yellowish or an orange with the Blackberry Bliss. So I thought I would do it with Timid Tiger tonight and Blackberry Bliss because I think they look kind of striking together. And Timid Tiger is actually one of the colors here on the color coach along with Darling Duckling, but I think I'm just going to keep it two colors. We'll see if we change our mind, but I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, or shorter and sweet. So I'm using the Sweet Blooms photopolymer stamps along with the Sweet Blooms dies. These have some nice dies that give you the fussy cut layer, like it looks like you fussy cut it, along with the letter so that you've got a nice little border. Now, this has happened me before, and it happened again tonight. Excuse me, where I did not put adhesive sheets on here. And I really should have put adhesive sheets on the back of at least the scripted letters. So we're just going to have to fight with a little bit of liquid glue, not a big deal. And I've done it in opposing color themes, I guess. So I've got this one, the Blackberry Bliss on the bottom with the Timid Tiger on top, and vice versa. So we'll just see kind of how it looks once we've got the box created. All right. Now, we don't get measurements from Stampin' Up! When they have things in the catalog. We'll get a recipe that'll tell us the colors that were used, the stamp set that was used, maybe the technique that was used if there was, embossing or, heat embossing or dry embossing, whatever. We will be told what those are. And the recipes, I wonder if I have one here. Yeah, I do, for a different card. But the recipes basically just tell us what page on the catalog, what it is, and all the supplies. So the colors and the tools you need and all of that. So it doesn't give measurements. So with the box here in the catalog, we're going to cover a couple of different things. I've already cut and scored my inside and my wrap piece. I have a couple of pieces for this, and I'm going to show you how to extend your punch. Some of you probably already know how to do this. Maybe it's something new for others. So we're going to take care of that. And I've already die cut, obviously, those words. And I stamped the words too, but I noticed after I cut these, we're just going to have a day. It'll be have a lovely day. But I noticed on here, these are actually cut at a diagonal. So we'll play with that just a little bit and we'll see what you think. Hello, Nicole. Welcome for the second night in a row. And it is, let me think. Is it almost noon by you? Now I have to think of my time zone again. Or maybe it's almost 1 by you. Anyway, This is the box we're going to work on. So I'm going to just run through some of the measurements quick. Let me get these things out of the way. And then we're going to have just a little play with those punches to extend the banner. All right. And maybe I should try to keep this close. All right, 1 o'clock. So my second calculation was better. Awesome. So we're going to kind of leave this here. So hopefully we can kind of keep an eye on that. So this is just a slider box. So first off, you have to decide kind of what size you want your box to be. And I thought, okay, these letters, I measured them, and I basically need like a 3 by 5. So when I do a box like that, I'll figure what sides I need and just start doing the math. All right, so I've got 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, because I'm going to have it about an inch tall. If you're going to have a deeper box, of course, let's say this was going to be 2 inches. So just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then do the same to calculate your other direction, your width or your length. All right, so this one was 5 by 7. So here we've got the 5 inches there, the 7 inches here, but the base of my box is going to be 3 inches by about 5 inches. All right. And then what I did was just trimmed just a smidge off of my edges. Well, let me back up. So 5 by 7, I scored all the sides at an inch. And then I took just a smidge, like not even a 1/16 of an inch, off of these sides, because when I go to do the sleeve, I want to be able to score that at the inches. So for this one, what I did is we've got the 5 inches, because that's how wide the box is going to be, the pocket here. Okay. So I've got 5 inches, and then I've got 8.5. So how I came up with the 8.5 is we've got 3, 4, 5, and the top piece 6, 7, 8, and then I need a 1/2 inch to kind of adhere things. I hope that makes sense. It'll make more sense as we go. So this sheet is 8.5, so you can just take your 8.5 by 11 and just cut off 5 inches for this particular box. But all you have to do is kind of do your own math. Oh, okay. You got your your BBB of crafty goodiness. BBB. I'm not sure what BBB is by you. Sweet Blossoms. Oh, your bundle. Awesome. Yeah, the Sweet Blooms is really pretty. So anyway, back to this sleeve. So I've got my 8.5. I've scored it at 1 inch because that's going to be a side. I've scored it at 4 inches because that's going to be a top or a bottom. I've got another inch because that's going to be the other side. Another 3 inches, so that goes to 8. So we've got 1, 4, 5, and 8, which leaves me that 1/2 inch. So what I do then is I put tear tape on one edge, and then that'll kind of like be on the outside, and then the other one I'm putting it on the other side of the paper, so that when I put them together, this will stick on the inside and this will stick on the outside and hold things nice and tight and snug, right? Oh, your big brown box. Oh, that's perfect. I love that. I'm going to have to try to remember that. See, when I see BBB, I think of the Better Business Bureau, because that's what we have in the States to report whether companies are good or bad. So you don't want to be on the Better Business Bureau bad list. All right. So let's go ahead and put these together. Now, I didn't put any glue or tear tape on here because I kind of wanted to explain what I do with the bottom of the box or the insert when I'm doing a sleeve box. All right. Rather than, and I mean a sleeve because this is going to slide in and out, right? So as opposed to one with a lid and a box underneath, this is going to be a sleeve where it slides out. What I do with mine is I make sure that when I score it, my ends are where I want my slits to be pointing, because then when I tuck these in to use my adhesive, these no edges are going to get stuck sliding in and out. Does that make sense? So if, let's say, this was the side that was going to slide in and out, this piece could get hung up when it's going in and out of the sleeve. So that's my rationale, all right? So I do it on whatever end is going to be pointing out of the sleeve. So here it's going to be going like this. So I did my slits where I cut my edges. Everybody knows how to do boxes, I'm sure. But I have just some little things that I do, my own methods sometimes. So let's go ahead and put some tear tape on these. And I'm just going to flip this over because I'm going to put my tear tape on my flaps. So we're just going to go like so, all the way around. And hopefully this will work. I did not plan one of these ahead of time. I do not have a prototype tonight. Because we were, Nicole, this won't mean anything to you probably, but we were in Kenosha, which is in another county for us, still in our same state, but in another county. And it takes us probably, if we drive per the speed limits, probably close to 40 minutes to get to their house. So we were doing that tonight, and we got back a little later. We have our granddaughter with us, so she was having fun, but then we had to get her to bed. Luckily, Papa, my husband, helped get her put to bed tonight, and she fell asleep really quick because there was a lot going on. So this little piece of tear tape kind of went over, so I don't want to have that stuck on my box. But I am going to take that and just fold it back on itself, and it's going to be fine. So let's just take all of these off. The box part is really quite quick. And then I'll show you how, I don't know, Nicole, if you came in before or after, I said I'm going to show how to extend a punch, an image from a punch, or a shape from a punch rather. And you may have done that already as well. So this might not be anything new for you, I don't know. Hopefully I'll get some little tips. That's not quite tucked in all the way. There we go. And then too, what I did was I mitered just a little smidge off of like the right side here and the right side here and the left side here and the left side here. Just a smidge. So before you cut anything from your box, line up those edges to see if there's going to be any overhang. And I don't necessarily miter if there's no overhang. All right. If it looks like everything's in place, I don't bother with it. And then here it looks like I just have a little bit of that tear and tape hanging over. All right, so here's the inside part of our box. And then I'm just going to go ahead, let me make sure I burnish these. I don't know if I did that. So then we'll make our sleeve. And this will hopefully work if we go like this and like this. So before you press down real hard, there's always, almost always, a way to fold your card so that you don't have to fight with it and create your box. All right. So there's a little piece here. You might not even be able to see it on camera. That's just a little past where it should be, and that might be something that I just kind of didn't cut quite straight. So hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, and I'm going to put this seam so it's on the bottom. Keep your fingers crossed that our little slider box works. All right. And then you can fill it with tissue or whatever you are working on. Now, sometimes I'll have like a piece of candy or, you know, maybe some soaps or something, and you have a specific size. So you just have to kind of decide what size your item is, add how tall you need to be all the way around, and just make your little box however you need to do it size-wise. So that turned out really well. And the reason why I score it and then take just a smidge off is because it's sliding in if I didn't take just that smidge out, it would be too close here. And I don't want to do, you know, like a 32nd of an inch measurement to try to do any scoring, because that's just too much effort. And just trimming off a smidge works. All right, so let's move on to this part. Now, the catalog shows this banner here with this punch. Okay, now you can see that this punch is true to size here. That's how big the shape is when you punch it, you know, like on the back of here. I do not have this punch. I haven't ordered that one. Don't ask me why. I don't use a lot of the decorative punches. I have this one, and I have the modern oval, and I've got the hexagon, I've got some circles, and I've got the tag and this and those, but I didn't get these two. But anyway, you can make it so that your image is longer than that. Nicole, have you ever done that? Using your punch to make it a bigger banner? So I brought two punches in. I brought this one, which is the labeled with love punch, so that we could kind of go this way and get these edges on here, and we'll just kind of see which one we like better. This one's a little more decorative. This one will get the point across probably easier because it's easier to see maybe. So when you want to do an extended punch, if you put your paper in and pull it through the center of your punch, just go to an edge. Okay, so I don't have to explain this really deeply for you, Nicole, but anybody who's watching the replay should probably need to understand it. And then when you punch it down, what you need to do then is turn it around, that end that you just punched, push it in and take it up the middle of your punch again for as long as you need your banner. All right, so I need it to be around 5 inches-ish. So we're gonna go ahead and do that one, all right? So that'll make one extended banner. So this other one that's a little more decorative, I needed to size a little bit differently because it's a narrower punch, all right? And I wasn't gonna punch this way because we want that decorative part on there. So we're gonna do the same thing. I measured in here. I thought I did. It looks like this is a little big. So I might have used my scrap somewhere else. So let's measure this one and just trim it down. So the opening on this one appears to be 1 3/4 inches. And this is almost 2. So let me take a 1/4 inch off of here. So 1 3/4 inches. Yeah, I do punches to do the thumb notches too. And you can do them with flags, you're right. I'm usually too lazy to go find the punch that I want. And when I do my flags, I just find the middle, snip, and then go from corner to the tip, and then corner to the tip so that I've got a symmetrical flag. But yes, you can definitely use punches for flags. So same thing here. We're going to take this piece. It can't be any wider than the opening of the punch. We're going to go here, and let's try to find kind of the edge there. And we'll punch, and then we'll put this end in, and we'll do the same thing. And we'll go to about the end here. See if I can see it. There we go. And we'll punch again. All right, so there's our extended punch, or our extended banner. All right, so I'm not really fond of this one. I just wanted to show the technique. So here, this one's actually a little long, but I don't know if I care. I could always make it a little shorter. Let's make it a little bit shorter, because that box is going to have some action going on, so we'll make it a little shorter. Maybe. We might have to make it a lot shorter. But that's all right. It'll work. It'll work. All right. So from here then, our sample shows a couple of flowers. And I didn't look up the recipe. I don't know what flowers those are, but I do have my gallery blooms handy. And I still actually have these. I don't know if they're peonies or if they're supposed to be roses. But I have that one still on the block, but I thought this would be pretty as well. And we're just going to do the outlines like they have here. We're not even going to color it in. You could if you wanted, but then it might just get a little busy. All right. So something else I do different from some people is I take my ink to my stamp and I just do a tap, tap, tap rather than going like this and squishing my block into my ink, because it's very easy for me and others that come to my classes to have a heavy hand and then you get ink all over and it can make your image look not so nice. All right, so let's find, I am running out of some scratch paper here. And we'll get a piercing mat. All right, we'll put this on here. All right, and then we're just gonna put some of these on here randomly. And I probably could have stamped off on that. So let's see if the next one, if I do it lighter, how that looks. And that's going to end up being pretty dark. So I'm going to use this side. When I stamped off, I didn't press hard here. So if I go to use this on my image, it's going to be really dark for part of this and really light for the other. So I'm just going to use that light part. And we'll just roll with it. So we'll just do something like that. All right. So that'll look all right, I think, at least for tonight. You'll get the idea, at least, right? So let's get these out of the way. And then what we can do is put our words together. Now, what we need to decide is which one do we think looks better. So if this is going to go on here with "Have a lovely day," have a lovely day. Okay. To me, that seems kind of dark. So let's see. What do you think? Timid Tiger on top or Blackberry Bliss on top? So Timid Tiger or Blackberry Bliss? The Blackberry Bliss does look kind of rich though. No opinions? I'm going to start gluing this one together. So the other thing too, I was going to mention, oh, Blackberry Bliss on top, you think? Okay. My tablet is a little delayed, so I apologize if you typed that a bit ago. It just popped up. So I'm just going to use my fine tip glue bottle, and this is just the regular multi-purpose liquid glue that I put in a little fine tip glue bottle that I got from the $1.25 store. We used to call them dollar stores here, but they raised all their prices, so everything's $1.25 or more. So I call them the $1.25 store. Do you have those in Australia, Nicole? Like dollar stores, or we have stores that are called Five Below, so everything is supposed to be $5 or less. All right, so let's see how well I can get this lined up. So on this picture, on the sample, it actually shows the letters pretty much to the edge of the background piece. So that's what I'm going to kind of shoot for here. Pretty close. All right. So this I'm going to put, oh, that was something else. There's a background piece on here in the contrasting colors. So let me see if I have a Timid Tiger handy. Let me go get a piece of Timid Tiger because we'll make a background piece. So this one will be a little bit easier. I'm going to still cut this down to 1 3/4 because that's what we started with. Yes, I am a messy stamper. All right. So here we can go like so. And again. And it doesn't really matter how long I make this because I'm going to cut it in half rather than use a whole piece of cardstock, you know, to try to get the right size. I'm just going to trim this. And we'll just trim it about in half. Close enough. And then those are going to go here. So you can see where there's a little outline there. And I think I probably would have been happier with this stamped off. So maybe I'll stamp over here. Let's just try this again. We'll see if we like one better than the other. So you have $2 shops, okay. So yours are Japanese based, ours are all Chinese based, and I really don't care to shop there that often because I would rather shop our products that are actually made in our own country. So let's do this one over here. I'm going to do this in a little bit so we're not competing with the design of the punch. I think that'll look nicer actually. And you can see I'm actually tapping it on here like I told you not to do, but I'm barely setting it on there. I'm not pushing it in at all, just letting it pick up some ink. Yeah, that'll be okay. I think that looks better. You just never know what's going to work. All right. So this will go here. And I actually kind of like it kind of sideways. The catalog design isn't like that. But I kind of like it the way the flower is. So then this could just kind of, it could still sit there, I guess. You can still tell it's flowers under there. Have a lovely day. Or we could put them down off the box or off the top. I don't think I like that as well. So I think we'll just go ahead and put those on there. But one other thing we can do with these is to get the diagonal, how they have it here. This banner is actually cut at a diagonal. There is kind of a method. So if you cut your angle however you want your angle, take this piece and turn it 180 degrees and use it as a template for the other side. They will be at the same angle. Okay, so your angles are the same. And then here would be kind of the same thing. So we could use this one for our template from this side. I tried to save myself some time and I put both stamps on the same block, but they weren't necessarily lined up how they needed to be lined up. So they were just a little off. So I'll have to do a little bit of trimming. So I don't know that I like the diagonals so much with what I have going on here, but we'll see. And then I'm just going to trim this one down a little bit. Whoops. Lots of goodie treats. Our dollar stores, our buck and a quarter stores have mostly like household items and, I don't know, glasses and dishes and things like that. What do you think? I'm not sure what I think. So let's see if just a little border on here. I think that'll make a difference. That'll look good. All right, so let's put a little bit of glue. Let's do one step at a time and see how it looks. So we'll put just a little bit of glue here. Maybe. I can't believe I have another glue bottle that might be going empty. But it could happen. There. It doesn't want to flow very well here. It's probably got a little, there we go, a little bit of gunk in the tip maybe. I just don't want to have too much glue. All right, so let's just lay this here. Hopefully you can see that. I might have been too far down on my glass mat, I don't know. And then that liquid glue gives me a little bit of wiggle room if I'm not quite sure how I wanted it attached. But easier than doing that would probably be to just go like that, right? Who knew? And then line that up. So, you know, things have a way of working out. Sometimes by trial and error. So we could put a little bit of glue here just to make sure that doesn't go very far. All right, let's put some debris away. And then these, I'm going to put this up on dimensionals because I think that'll look better than just having it flat. So let's find, I think I'm going to use the black dimensionals just because of the Blackberry Bliss. And then I'm going to put a couple of mini ones on those tips. And Nicole, I'm sure you're probably aware that these black dimensionals come in a mixed pack. So you get some small ones and some big ones. Some of the mini ones and some of the regular ones. So I'll push those on there really good. We'll just... The black ones are nice because you can actually tell pretty easily when the backing has come off. With the white ones, it's not always quite so easy. But these you can see right away if the backing is off. Whoops. Popped my light there. All right. So if we do, you know, that might look better if we do that and put this, I guess in the center will work. I was trying to decide if I wanted it offset. And just creating a little box shouldn't be that difficult, but you know, sometimes I have to overthink things. All right, so if we do have a lovely day, I still think I don't know. Maybe the angled one does look better. Yeah, the black dimensionals are really awesome. And I'm going to end up tucking these, I think, a little bit here. So I think the angle would work there because then what I'll do is I'll line it up for those, and then we'll put this on here. And then we'll add some pretty little gems. And that's our box. So I'm not going to waste your time gluing it all. But that's my take on this box with the supplies that I have. Since I didn't have that one punch, I just improvised with the punch that I did have. I used a different stamp here and a different color set. So yeah, I know. There are demonstrators that will put, you know, they'll either do stripes or I've seen them actually color the whole thing. And I've just found that this is kind of glossy paper. So when I tried that, it didn't actually dry. So then I ended up with a big mess. And I guess it just takes me more time to color than the couple of times that I might have to look to see if it's matte finish so that I'm seeing sticky, or if it's shiny and I see that the backing is still on. So it's just personal preference. I don't bother to color mine. It's fine. All right, so here's our little box based off of that. So that's all I have for tonight. And I took more than half an hour anyway. So I'm sorry it took longer and I started later. But I guess that's just the way it is when you're trying to be creative, right? Yeah, I've made slider boxes before, but it's been a while. And I don't think of them really often. I guess when I think of them is when we're maybe doing like a, oh, I don't, like not a stamp camp, but like an event, you know, a stamping thing. So we'll maybe make a few of these. They're kind of a fun little box. So, well, I'm glad you popped in, Nicole. Kept me a little bit of company so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. And whoever watches this on replay, I hope it inspired you a little bit to give it a try. In case something in the catalog or come up with something all on your own. All right. But until next time, happy crafting.